The show starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good morning, CaneSport. It's the 1st of August, 2025. I'm Gary Ferman, the publisher of CaneSport.com, joined once again this morning by our managing editor, Matt Shodell, as we discuss the news of the day, or in this case, the news of yesterday, as the Miami Hurricanes began fall practice, which means that the countdown is on to opening night, August 31st, Hard Rock Stadium against the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. And Matt, I'm going to be honest, I looked out there yesterday and I did not see a football team that was taking it one day at a time and not looking towards the gargantuan task that they have on opening night. I saw a team that looked like they had been working hard for several weeks. I did not see a lot of guys out there running around like they didn't know what they were supposed to be doing. I know Mario's trying to sell it to us. They're taking each day of practice one day at a time. This team looked to me, Matt, like they know who they're playing in 4 weeks. Your thoughts?
Well, it was a terrible first day of practice because I wore this shirt by accident. I was in a rush. I wasn't ready. I was very unprofessional. So I spent the whole day with. I wish I could show you guys the actual.
I'm used to it.
We did get a roster with names, numbers, and weights. But we were not allowed to share it with you. But this is it. But I had it over my shirt like the whole time, so that Mario Cristobal would not come screaming and yelling at me as he has in the past. So yeah, it was a rookie mistake, and of course my media friends. I don't have friends, but the media were very quick to point out that I'm an idiot. Yeah, terrible first day of practice. But that was
I had a rookie mistake. I had a rookie mistake too.
Yeah,
I had the audacity to film a quarterback drill where the equipment guys were flipping balls to the quarterback, and we were told you can only film the quarterback once the ball's in their hands. And I hit the camera as the start button about a half a second too quick, and there was no cadences or anything. They were just flipping the balls to the quarterbacks, and I got chastised for that, and I had to pull that video down. So I promise I will be under better behavior later today and for the rest of fall camp. And listen, there's an edge out there. They know who they're playing. Whatever they, anybody can say whatever they want. They know it's game on. They're practicing with urgency. Mario Cristobal, I saw him reaming out assistant coaches if he saw something he didn't like. I saw him very, very strongly coaching individual players on certain things. They know who they're playing, Matt. It's game on at the U.
And by the way, this is a crocodile, so everyone knows, not an alligator. I assume you all know that by now, okay? I would never wear an alligator to practice. The color was a bad decision. But anyway, look, I believe it or not, I was actually impressed. Usually I'm not impressed on the first day of practice because you shouldn't be impressed on the first day of practice if you're a serious journalist and not a fan, right? A fan, you could sit there and be like, oh, these guys look great because that's what, they're playing against each other, right? I mean, at the end of the day, bad versus bad equals good, right? Minus X times minus X equals positive X for those math geniuses out there. So bad versus bad equals good, and good versus good obviously is going to equal good also, right? So you just don't know, is everybody out here really bad and just looks good because they're playing against somebody bad, or are they all at a really high level? But what I was really encouraged by, and what I haven't seen for the last 20 years consistently enough, not everybody, okay, but I'd say at least a quarter of the team is noticeably different. Okay, noticeably different, right? And it's easy to say, oh, well, how come everyone isn't look noticeably different? Because not everybody is on a plan to gain weight. That's not how everybody should look, okay? But the guys that needed to gain weight, the guys that needed to lose weight did. I mean, Joshua Moore, from when we last saw him to now, he turned from Roscoe Parrish into Andre Johnson, and that's an exaggeration. But he looks sick. He looks like you're supposed to look for a championship wide receiver. I mean, I can't just picture a young Andre Johnson. Like, that's how Andre looked. I covered Andre Johnson. That's how he looked.
He looks like a young Andre Johnson.
Yeah, and he moves like Andre. Like, he's big, physical. I was very impressed with the wide receivers in general. The only guy dropping passes left and right was Luka Gilbert, and we don't need him, so it's fine. This year we don't need him. Quarterbacks, everyone wants to know about Carson Beck. Of course, I was watching Carson Beck because I'm a stalker. So all I do is watch Carson Beck and every movie he makes. Carson Beck, I told people, before I sort of had interviews with him and saw him in person, really interacting with the team, I was not sold. And I've talked to boosters about this, and they were upset he was wearing a gold chain, some of them, to the ACC media. Like, what's he thinking? Like, everyone already thinks he's like this ostentatious loser, But I think he is just a different kind of guy. And he sort of explained it to some extent 2 days ago when he said he should have lived in the 1970s. In the 1970s, for those of you that don't remember, it was just this ostentatious bling. But like, it was fake bling. It was fake bling. You go to the club and they'd have the freaking disco lights, and you'd be wearing your 80-pound, 100% aluminum, necklace, and and like that's sort of how he is. Like he's a sci-fi fan. He plays guitar and piano on his free time. He doesn't do anything except go to the office at UM and go home. And like that's all he does. Like he's a homebody. And like I really like his personality. I like Carson Beck. I didn't think I would. I got to tell you.
What was Hannah Cavender thinking?
3 days ago, if you said, "Hey Matt, would you want to get a beer with Carson Beck?" I'd be like, "Hell no." He'd probably like crash his Lambo into me or throw me the keys and make me park it or something. Like that's not for me. I'm a Carson Beck fan as a person. Like I always said he was going to have a good year. He's a great talent, but I'm actually a Carson Beck fan as a person, which I can't believe I'm saying. In 2 media appearances, he has just won me over. He's like a nice guy. He's affable. You see him laughing.
Well-spoken, mature.
Yeah, and you see him like laughing with Nickel and Luke Nickel and with Judd Anderson. They're cracking jokes while special teams is going on. Then he meanders over to Emory Williams, make sure Emory's heads on straight. They're chatting for a while. Like he's in it to win it. I don't like that expression at all, but like he is. So super impressed with him. Now his play on the field, and I have no problem with this. He came out and he admitted it afterwards. He was like juiced up or whatever. I mean, to me, juiced up means you're on steroids. To him, I guess it means you're overthrowing guys. Yeah. So he's overthrown quite a bit. His first 3 passes in coming out drills, his first 3 passes in one-on-ones. I mean, one of them he sailed 5 yards over Ray Joseph's head, which, Ray Joseph is 4'2", so it probably was on target for Josh Moore, but it was to Ray Joseph, which was a problem. And by the way, Ray looks really fast. I think coaches said he's been timed as one of the 2 fastest Hurricanes, and you can see why. He's lost a lot of weight. He looks like he did as a freshman again. They put on too much weight, and now he looks really fast again. So that's great. Like I someone on the message board made fun of me for saying that I think Ray should, have a major role this year. I said he could. I didn't say he should. I said he could. People don't read very carefully. It's a difference of 1 letter. 2 letters really, C to SH. But that person should because I said could. Could. He I would have said no chance in the spring. Now I'm saying he has a chance. That's all. Tony didn't stand out. Trader didn't stand out. But whatever. It's the first practice. They're not everyone's going to stand out. It's just sort of a look test on day 1. And the guy who really on defense shocked me was Artavius Jones. He blew up Ryan Rodriguez on one play, like just almost like Hayden Lowe, like picked him up and just threw him 4 yards in the backfield. And the play before that, he split 2 linemen and like hit the ball carrier. Hit I think it was Jordan Lyle, like 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage as he was getting the handoff. I mean, fast, big, strong. I mean, he looks like you're supposed to look. And that's the issue I've had so often here on the defensive tackle position at Miami. Like the guys are too small. This guy's not too small. Okay. And I know that, Damian Lewis talks about David Blay being an anchor who doesn't move real well. I don't know, that's not to me. Like, I don't want that. Artavius Jones is a guy who's an anchor who moves well. That's what you want. Like Damian Jones literally said, David Blay can't really move, but he's an anchor. It's hard to move him. And that's not for me, bro. Like, put in Artavius Jones, put in Justin Scott. They're very high on Ahmad Moten now. And that's good for me. Like, I know they took David Blay, but from what the coaches are saying, he's just real slow. And that's not encouraging. But at linebacker, Kamal Bonner, I was surprised he was so small because people have been saying he's long and rangy, whatever. He's like, I'm not going to lie, he's a small linebacker, but he's quick. He's fast. He's a guy who can shoot gaps. I think he'll be okay. He looked okay yesterday just in the drills that we saw him doing. And then Wesley Bissainthe always looks really good in practice. It makes me crazy. I mean, he always looks amazing, and then he gets in games and disappears. I don't trust Wesley Saints right now because they got a guy named, apparently his name is pronounced Tour, like Tour de France. I thought it was French for a while, Toure, but it's Tour.
It's Toure.
Well, they all call him Tour. So
I don't know. It's Toure. I asked him.
Yeah, well, they all call him Tour. Every player, even who was it? Mawanoa yesterday called him Tour, whatever. Toure, Tour. He's going to be really good. He's running around wearing a brace. He's not going full speed from what I saw, but you can see like that dude, if he would give me 2% of his muscles, I would gain 40 pounds. I mean, you've got to see this guy's arms and legs. I haven't seen his abs, but I can imagine his abs. I've seen them in magazines like GQ or whatever. I don't read those magazines, but I can imagine. The dude is freaking ripped. Okay,
he's an impressive kid too. I'm in the process of writing a column about him. Did a long interview with him, and really interesting kid, and he says a lot of really good stuff. So we'll let you know when that's on the website.
Yeah, but my point is these guys they all look different than what we've seen in the past, right? I've stood out there with the reporters before, and we've always said these guys don't look real impressive. Like Alabama, Ohio State, those are big, strong guys. Miami's maybe not there yet, but they are getting there. You can finally see it where you're like, okay, that guy looks like he should look. This guy finally put on that weight, looks like he should look, you know. Some of the guys who needed to lose weight lost weight, you know. So, yeah, and the offensive line obviously is really strong. I do think that it's going to be, I think Matthew McCoy is going to wind up the fifth starter there. Which is fine. He was okay last year, and he looks fine. And that's actually good because Ryan Rodriguez started as a center, right? So if Matthew McCoy is good enough to start, now you got a guy in Rodriguez who can play either guard position and center as a really, really high-quality backup. You got Samson Okunlola as the backup left tackle. Really, he'd probably start at most ACC schools this year, quite honestly. And then Derek Plaz, they're actually using him a little bit in the 2 deep, which I'm impressed by. So he's a guy who can get a look at the guard spots also. And then who's the backup? There was a guy. Well, we can't talk about depth charts. You know, God forbid we mention a depth chart. But yeah. So look, across the board, I really thought it was a great practice. And by the way, Emory Williams. I know people hate talking about Emory Williams because he sucks, but I mean that's what people say, not me. But he has also changed his body. His legs, like. His left leg is as big as my upper torso, and I'm not even kidding. Next time you guys see him, he's got the biggest legs by far of a quarterback I think I've ever seen at Miami. I've never seen anything like it. And he said he's been working on his legs a lot. He wasn't lying, you know. Oh yeah, the backup right tackle would probably be Tommy Kinsler. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. And Juan Manea is a good guard. Is working with the twos at guard. You know, working with the twos, and Derek Plaz, like I said, also is with the guard. So, you know, they got some good young talent that's gonna be in the 2 deep. They got really good starters in the offensive line. Defensive tackle, I'm more optimistic now than I was before because I think Justin Scott's going to be really good, and I think Artavius Jones is going to be a great depth piece, if not pushing to start at some point. Linebacker, you know, again, I said those 3 guys. I like them. And Ethan O'Connor. Ethan O'Connor, don't be shocked if he makes a move this fall. He looks like a different guy, man. He blanketed a couple of guys yesterday. I mean, blanketed them.
He's a very good cornerback at Washington
He's
State.
Really good. Keelan Marion, I mean, it was like he was running Keelan Marion's route. It was crazy. I've never seen a guy in one-on-ones because usually the receiver has the edge, right? Especially when you're a fast guy like Marion. I mean, he was on his hip every move Marion made. And you know, these guys, I don't know if you guys, how many of you have seen the one-on-ones, but I mean, they're making moves. They're not just running straight up field, okay? Every move that Marion made, Ethan O'Connor's hips are elite. The way he flips his hips are sick, and they will find something for that guy to do. I'm telling you right now, that guy is going to be really good. And yeah, I know people love Xavier Lucas and OJ, obviously, but they got to find a way to get Ethan involved.
All right, appreciate that review. I agree with the greater majority of what you said. I was really impressed with the quarterbacks, and Carson Beck, once he settled in, was throwing at a real high level. And Emory Williams was probably throwing every bit as good as Carson Beck, in all honesty. I mean, Emory was making a lot of really nice throws out there at practice yesterday. And he told me, I did an interview with him the other day. I hope you guys saw it on the website. He told me that that's what we were going to see from him. You know, he's been working really hard in the offseason, but he told they go out on the practice field and actually put it into effect. You know, it's all talk. And in this case, I don't think it's talk. I think Emory Williams is the best model of himself, and he was clearly, to my eye at least, the clear-cut number 2 quarterback yesterday without question. Now, running backs, we know about Fletcher, we know about Jordan Lau. Charmar Brown, man, did he look good in practice yesterday. This is a kid that I think is absolutely going to earn playing time. We had a 3-man backfield last year. I think we'll have a 3-man backfield this year. This kid is too good to keep on the bench, and I think he will get significant playing time this year behind Fletcher and Lyle, and certainly if one of those guys gets banged up.
By the way, Gerard Pringle is like Christopher Johnson, but without the top end speed. I mean, he's fast enough, but he's a guy that they can use as a pass catcher out of the backfield. Real small, shifty guy. They have all these running backs now that have totally different skill sets, and there's no excuse this year for Shannon Dawson not to be really innovative. He's got a quarterback who's literally giving him the Georgia playbook. Okay. I mean, that's literally what Carson Beck said. He says, yeah, I'm giving him the plays that I like to run, which are obviously from Georgia. Yeah. And with all these multiple weapons, I mean, you have a guy in Elijah Lofton who we haven't mentioned who, he looks great. He doesn't look that different from the spring, but he's pretty much filled out his frame, honestly, Elijah. If they keep putting weight on him, they're doing him a major disservice. He should, like some guys, they just get where they are and they should stay there. I know this is a big problem strength and conditioning coaches have had in the college level, is they're always trying to do something, right? It's weird for them to say to a guy, you've hit your goal weight, you've hit your nutrition numbers in terms of your fat percent, like just stay there. That's Elijah Lofton right now, and I'm praying they don't mess with him. It's only his second year. If they put another pound on him, it's not even worth it. The dude is a freaking freak, and he's enormous, and you can't put any more muscle or fat on him, or he'll just get slower.
I think they'll leave him. I think they'll leave him.
But he looks like that's what I'm saying. Like that's what you want, right? You don't want guys who are constantly, you got to gain 20 pounds to be, at your goal weight. You got to lose 20 pounds to be your goal weight. You want 50 Elijah Loftons, right? He's where he should be. He's at his peak physical level and size and strength and ability right now. I mean, you could always get a little bit faster and a little bit stronger, of course, within limits. But like he's where you want him. He's not a guy where you're saying, hey, he's still got to do this and that. And when's the last time we've said that about a Miami player who's in his second year, right? It's not. I can't remember ever saying it. It's the first time I think I've ever said this. So Mario Cristobal's filling out the roster the right way. These guys looked really good, running around in shorts. God forbid I'm positive, people. Okay, it was freaking in shorts, and you can't tell anything other than what our perceptions are right now, right? And yeah, I'm a little bit pie in the sky still because I really like the pace, the attitudes. There was really nothing. Yeah, and you know me, I'm looking for the negatives. I thrive on terrible things happening to good people, but none of it happened. It was all good. It was all good. I really thought that things went well, other than my T-shirt.
I was trying to back you up on that before you went off on another soliloquy here. Like I'm trying to, give some of my impressions as well. But anyway, yes, I agree with you on Lofton.
Your impression. I'm done. So
you're good. I'm only kidding. So the beauty of this show is we're not on a time limitation. So as long as people are willing to listen,
I wish it was a 20-minute show. Nobody's listening after 5 minutes. I don't know why we still yammer on and on for another whatever amount of time.
Yeah, we don't.
People listen for like a minute. They see me, they hear my voice, and they turn it off.
Man, we don't get long with it. All right, so listen. So I agree with what Matt said on the receivers. Josh Moore looks unbelievable. He absolutely looks like a young Andre Johnson out there. But Ray Joseph to me had the best practice I've ever seen Ray Joseph have, and he looked exceptional to me yesterday. And I'm trying to think, C.J. Daniels stood out quite a bit. He's positioned to have a good year, runs very good routes. You could see that he's a veteran that's been around for a while. He really does run really good routes. And I think right now he's on a fast track to be a starter at receiver. And then, beyond that, different guys were okay, but I'm just trying to name some of the guys that really stood out quite a bit. Let's see, who else what should I bring up here? I mentioned Charmar Brown. I'm with Matt on Artavius Jones. I mean, I was stunned by what I was seeing out of Artavius Jones out there in practice yesterday. I mean, playing at a motor level that we had never seen before, driving offensive linemen back. Damian Lewis, from what I could tell, has done a spectacular job coaching this kid. And listen, he's a second-year player. Like, not everybody is developed for their freshman year, and he certainly wasn't. But he has made considerable strides here, even since spring practice. And if Artavius Jones stays on the trajectory that he's on, he is going to absolutely be in that rotation at defensive tackle. With certainly guys like Moten and Blay and
see, here's my biggest fear is a lot of the guys we're mentioning that look great are guys that I think Miami's going to wind up having as backups, right? You mentioned CJ Daniels is going to start over Josh Moore. Ray is going to start over Malachi Toney.
I didn't say that.
No, but I'm saying I'm predicting this is what's going to happen.
Okay.
You have David Blay probably starting over Artavius Jones. And like, as the season goes on and they see, these guys get more reps, then coaches start to trust them, right? The problem with that is this isn't a year where we're playing 4 easy games and then you get into the ACC schedule. This is a season where in your first game, you have to play your best players. Like, you can't leave them on the bench and wait till game 5 to say, okay, now you've gotten 20 reps a game. We're going to up you to 30. We're going to up you to 40. Because that's what they do, right? They give the young guys 10, 15 reps. Then they tell them, okay, now you're going to play a little bit more, right? And then they sort of get acclimated is the word that Gary can look up. But that doesn't work when you're playing Notre Dame in game 1. If you lose to Notre Dame in game 1 because you're starting 6 veterans over 6 younger guys who are better than the veterans because you don't trust those young guys, that's on you as a coach. You don't trust them to know what they want to do. Well, you didn't teach them right. I mean, it's no different than going to school. If you have a 6th grader in a class full of seniors, because the 6th grader's a genius, right? And you're going to some sort of competition. Now, that's a bad example, but you're going to some competition. You're going to probably take the older guys who have worked for it and earned it and whatever, instead of the 6th grader to reward them for their hard work, because it's just weird to put a 6th grader over a 12th grader. That 12th grader is going to be super pissed and probably leave your school and transfer to another school and be on that team instead. And like, that's part of the equation here, right? When you start a freshman, when you start a redshirt freshman, every guy ahead of them in this day and age on that roster will be looking to leave probably by the midway point of the season. Okay, they'll already be hearing, trust me, from family and friends, and they'll be being reached out to illegally, well, now I guess legally through third parties, and the team falls apart. That position falls apart depth-wise, right? That guy's no longer invested in the program. He's not a locker room guy. That's unfortunately part of the equation now for coaches. If you're going to start, Artavius Jones over whoever it may be, I guess it would have to be David Blay or Ahmad Moten. Those guys aren't going to be too happy if they're backups, right? They're in their last year. They're the seniors, and now the 6th graders playing over them. Do you think that goes over well? Like, is this really that Miami mantra?
Yeah, I don't think they care, Matt.
They don't care. They don't care. Let their careers end, and they could work. They could work for Gary Ferman at CaneSport.
They
don't care.
They're going to put the best players out there.
Oh, the coaches don't care. I'm saying the players care. Players care. That's the problem. So to some extent, you have to try to keep these players happy, which is not something you never had to do before. But the last 3 years, you have to keep players happy.
Yeah, but listen,
so I don't know how that factors in. But when it comes to that, plus wanting to play the more experienced guys, the older guys, and you add that other piece in, that's why I think these older guys are going to be starting. Like Dylan Day, to me, looked great yesterday, but Jacoby Thomas, who didn't look great, is going to start over him. Like, I just think that's what's going to happen. And I think Dylan Day's a better athlete, has better range, better ball skills, bigger. He's certainly bigger than Thomas, but that's the way it goes. And I'm a schmuck. I don't know what I'm talking about. But let me tell you something. I've said this in the past, and I've been right. Okay? I had problems, even Lance Guidry, right? Everyone's like, Lance Guidry was such a great hire, right? From day one, I said, this is not a great hire. Like, you can look it up, guys. When they hired him, day they hired him, I went on this show next day, and I said, this is not a good hire, because what's he done where? How is this system going to work at Miami if the cornerbacks aren't good? Which they're probably not going to be. I mean, I literally said it. the morning after he was hired.
It pains me to admit it, but you did say it.
And I'm telling you right now that they're going to start players who aren't as good as the backups, and it's going to bite them in the butt at some point in the first 4 games. Like, it just is. And whether they can overcome that or not, I don't know. But that's my prediction, you know. And
I'm not convinced, Matt. They started a true freshman at corner last year. I mean, you know, if somebody's the best
out of
player,
necessity, of course.
No, it was because he won the job in training camp.
He won the job with no other.
He was the best quarterback in training camp.
Here's what you're missing: if they brought in a transfer who was 3/4 as good as OJ Frederick, they're starting the transfer in game 1. You know, like, that's just what they do. It's not just Miami. This is what coaches do, and it makes me crazy because I'm an idiot. I don't know what I'm talking about. But coaches want to trust the guy. They want to have a guy that they think is consistent versus a guy. It's a whole thing about going 100 miles an hour in the wrong direction. In the old days, Miami coaches used to say they'd rather do that. They'd say, I'd rather have a guy go 100 miles in the wrong direction than a guy going 30 miles an hour in the right direction. But that's flipped on its head nowadays because it's all about consistency, work ethic, you know, doing the right thing, which is what the older guys tend to do way more consistently than the younger guys who are usually more immature, right? But we're going to see when we see the depth chart in the season opener, then I can come back on the show the next day and say, here's the guys I disagree with. Or maybe I'll say, Mario listened to me and he watched my show because it's the Matt Shodell show, right? Oh, no, it's not. It's the Gary Ferman show. But he watched the show and he listened. Maybe he'll listen. And maybe fans think I'm wrong, but I think I'm right.
All right. So we have tons of coverage on the website. If you haven't had a chance to get through it all, make sure you do. You know, Mario Cristobal had a lot to say yesterday. We talked about Carson Beck using the terminology that his arm felt juiced. We got an update with him. We got an update with Mesidor, an update with Bain on the website. We got a story with Bobby Pruitt talking about what his potential role could be. We got Francis Maianoa talking offensive line for you. We have Kevin Beard talking about his receiver group in tandem and how he's looking forward to unleashing them on college football. He feels really, really good about his guys. It's up to them to prove it because he's certainly not bashful to say it. We have a story with defensive tackle coach Damian Lewis, a guy that I mentioned is doing a great job with Artavius Jones, but he's very much under the gun because they need Artavius Jones to step up. They need Justin Scott to step up. If the defensive tackles don't step up, the defense is not going to be as good as we all think it's going to be and want it to be. I mean, it just won't. So they need these kids at defensive tackle to step it up and be the real deal. Now that brings us to this morning. We have practice number 2. Matt and I will be heading out there shortly. And, I'd like to say I'm looking for steps forward out here today, Matt, but day 1 went so well. We might be doing well to maintain that standard on day 2.
Look, it's always interesting to see who sort of flashes in that day. And it's not that we're seeing consistent flashes, right? We see, everyone gets different reps. We see maybe 4 or 5 reps for each receiver or each DB. We see some offensive line drills and things like that. But the biggest thing to me that I look for in these practices that are early on, very early on, is how guys are moving and the attitude and the look test, right? Those are 3 really important things. And yeah, is it nice to see Carson Beck throw a great ball, which he does. He throws a very, very catchable ball, okay? And he looked great in spurts, right? He was a little bit inconsistent. But how Carson Beck comes out on day 2 and day 3 and et cetera, like he's the key on offense to the season, obviously, right? However he goes as a leader, as a player, is going to dictate how good Miami is on offense, period. So, all the pressure on him, all eyes are on him, and he's saying all the right things, and we're going to start to see just how good he can be, because we knew within a week of fall camp last year that Cam Ward was a star. I mean, we'd say it on the show, like, this guy's unbelievable. We haven't seen people practicing like this. Like, this guy is incredible. And you can't say that after day 1 for Carson Beck. He was sort of hit or miss early on. He threw some nice balls. but he was not
I have
Cam Ward.
no worries about Carson Beck.
No, I have no worries either. But the point is, we knew within a week of fall camp that Cam Ward was a star. And yeah, Carson Beck's had 6 years in college, right? So we know he has the potential, he has the NFL potential, et cetera. And we knew that with Cam Ward, right? He was going to be a mid-round draft pick when he came in here, but we knew how special he was just watching him through. I remember, Gary, how we saw his arm and we're like, oh my God.
100%.
Like the ball shot out of his arm. The ball does not shoot out of Carson Beck's arm the way it did for Cam Ward, but Cam Ward was the #1 draft pick for a reason.
I disagree. Right? I thought the ball was coming out of his arm just fine.
Fine, but it wasn't like on those deep passes that he threw, it was not Cam Ward like, okay, period. But Carson Beck does have an NFL level arm for sure, and we're going to keep seeing it. And my point is, you can't judge it on one practice. I'm not saying he's not Cam Ward or he is Cam Ward. He's not Cam Ward. But within a week, we'll know, like, damn, this guy's special. Because Gary and I have seen quarterbacks. Well, Gary's seen quarterbacks at Miami since, I think, what was the first year? 1924? Is that when they started? And I've seen him since 1997 with a brief gap to go to Baltimore. So, like, we've seen a lot of quarterbacks come and go in fall practices and spring practices. You sort of know what looks really good and what you're just like, yeah, this is going to be maybe, or this is going to be bad. So I'd say check back in a week. Yeah. And Gary and I will be able to really definitively say this guy is meshing with the Miami receivers. He's on point with them. He's like, he's got it figured out. He knows the offense.
Yeah, but we can safely say that there's no Tate Martell, Ja'Cory Brown situation out there. Okay. Can we? Like, that's been ridden from the program. There's no quarterbacks out there that can't hit a freaking.
Not yesterday.
No.
But Judd Anderson had some moments in the spring. I will say that. I'm not going to lie.
He did, but he's going to keep getting better.
Yeah,
you know?
He is.
I don't know if he'll ever play here, but he's going to keep getting better.
And again, it was day one. You know, you can only judge what I said. Look test, and the other stuff. I'm not going to rehash it all, but you can't say like, oh yeah, this guy's going to be great this year, or this guy's going to start this year. All we can say is our impressions from the last time we saw this team practice to now. And it looks a lot better. You know, it looks a lot better. And I'd say about 25% of the guys look like they went nuts on their bodies, which is great.
Yeah. All right. So, man, we're throwing a lot of content at you guys. Make sure you're checking the website multiple times a day. We are stockpiled. I mean, we're working like crazy. Just have so many interviews that we've done the last couple of days, and we're churning it out as quick as we can for you. But it's really good stuff. So make sure you're checking the website a few times a day, like I said, for all these stories. We will have complete coverage of this morning's practice for you later this morning as we move forward. And beyond that, man, I thank everybody so much for waking up with us this morning. You've seen the information at the bottom of your screen. If you're not yet a subscriber to CaneSport.com, please, 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 your subscriptions allow us to do what we do every single day. We need them. They're very important. Come join our site. You will not be sorry. Like I said, we pound the content for you guys. We also have a great community of fans for you to hang out with every single day. So for Matt Shodell, I'm Gary Ferman. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time, everybody.